finding men right, you don't have to find every man right, but find the man that you can find right. Find the man that you can find right. Find the man that you can approve of. Find the man that you can really receive. And that does amazing things to the psyches of men. Men want to really give to those women. Men want to be with those women. Men want to provide for those women. Right? I think it's a huge factor for us.
I think there's like a big non-sexual application in how much like intangible energy, if you will, a woman can give a man. Obviously with arousal we're speaking, but like when my wife sees me as strong or capable of something, I can fix things around the house, or I have the motivation to do things that I would never, ever in a million years do for myself. It's like, she just like gives me that, she like juices me, and then I could fix the friggin' whatever, you know, ceiling fixture. And it's like women have so much power in that sense of controlling the strings.
I think it's a circuit, though. I think male competence is a huge turn on for women.
Yes.
I've literally heard these conversations multiple times from lawyer women, from women whose husbands were professors. Women have specifically said, you know, I'd never watched my husband at work, but then he was giving a lecture, or he was giving a speech, or he was winning an award, and I was there. And when he got up on the stage and he started speaking, and he was holding the whole room, and people were laughing at his joke, and everybody stood up to applaud him, I've never wanted to fuck him more.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is a woman standing on the back of the room who's like walked in with this man, married to him for however many years, but like looking through at your man through other people's eyes and seeing that he's esteemed by other people and he's considered competent and brilliant by other people is like, that's my man. Let's jump him. So I think that tells a lot. That speaks oodles. Women will say that. Watching a man in his competence is really a turn on. Women have joked to me like, you would think women are always into uniforms. Women have told me, oh, just a man in a tool belt. I'm like, what is it with you women? What is it with you women? So he says it isn't like it's a fetish object. It's competence. It's a man can do shit. He's doing things. He's getting things done. He has ability, and that just is a natural turn on for women. I had a moment like that. Let me confess, I had a very silly moment like this. I was in India with a group of our friends. We were on a group trip. I think pretty much everybody else in our group was a woman. This is the moment. We are like 6 of us stuffed in a car, and I'm in the front seat, and obviously I'm the only one in the car who speaks Hindi among our people. So people are coming up, and I'm just speaking Hindi, asking for directions, being polite, making conversation. And the woman in the back is like, there is just something so hard about that. I'm like, what? Speaking Hindi? It's like, no, just competence. Like, we can rely on you to just get things done. Otherwise, we would be jabbering here for 15 minutes, making hand signs, trying to communicate. And the fact that you're just there in the front seat and people are smiling at you and you're talking at them politely and they are cordial to you and on we go is like, goddamn, that's a turn on. And that's not a sexy thing, but it is competence. And I think that is a really genuine switch in the feminine brain. Men who can get shit done. It's really powerful. I believe that may even be like the thing about women like dangerous men or gangsters. I'm like, only because they're more effective. They're just more effective because people respond to them quickly. It's like the scene in Goodfellas, the famous long scene where he comes to the back of the restaurant and they set up a table for him up front. It's not that he's just important, it's that people respond to him. And he can get things done. And all of a sudden, she looks at this man and is like, who the hell are you? Right? She's turned on by it.
Yeah, survival. Yeah, there's an essay by G.K. Chesterton I'm going to share with you guys to speak about more next week, but he has a bit in there because he's writing at a time where women were just starting to work and women's suffrage was like the hot topic of the day. And he was speaking about how he felt that it's unnatural for women to work because when you see a woman as a secretary, she falls in love with her employer and treats him like her husband. And he wasn't even talking about affairs or anything because he was very Christian conservative. But he was basically saying like the employer becomes the man in charge of her survival. His success determines whether or not she eats. So of course she's going to fall in love with him. Of course she's going to be devoted in the way that traditionally it would be for her father or her husband.
And I think it's a very valid hypothesis. Kevin Samuels used to talk about this. He would say women should work for their men. You should, if you want to work, don't go work for some strange man. Don't give your time and resources to him. Work for your man. Do his accounting. Do his books. Help him with his business. Because that way you get to see him making money, you get to see him being effective, you get to see him being an authority figure, and you get to contribute to his life. And you're actually useful to him instead of spending 8 hours a day with a strange man. And yeah, and I think there's something to that actually. I think there's something really to that. And the amount of affairs and the falling in love that happens between secretaries and bosses is quite large.
Mm-hmm.
Infatuations do happen over there. It's like a madman world.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. It's almost built in, like it's.
It is. Most women end up looking up to their bosses a lot more than they look up to their own man, and that in itself is not a great thing.
Right. Yeah.
Right? They look up to those bosses because they are important people. They get things done in the world, and they look up to them. They obey them. They obey their bosses. They don't obey their husbands. They jump to their feet. They are proactive in taking the care of their needs of their bosses. They're not proactive in taking care of needs of their husbands. And like, well, all this good energy should be going to your man instead of a stranger.
Yeah, and the flip side, using the madman trope, is the men find their secretaries more attractive because they're not getting the back talk, they're not getting the rejection, the resentment, the criticism that they probably get from their wife.
Yeah, they get to really delegate, they get to dominate, they get to have their instructions followed. They get to be respected. They get to be respected in the hierarchy. Right? Like, I don't want every fucking thing I say questioned. Just fucking do it. Right? And I think there's something to it. I mean, why do you want to question your husband so much when you never question your boss? Why don't you trust your husband's wisdom and intelligence at least as much as you trust your boss's intelligence and authority? It's a valid question.
Yeah. I guess superficially he's giving a paycheck. So that's kind of like anchored in our modern society.
Well, the husband is contributing a lot to the wife as well. And if you don't think the husband is worthy of your respect, don't marry that particular man. Right? Marry a man that you respect. And then offer him that respect and your relationship will go a lot better.